This podcast is sponsored by Pooks.ai. Dive into a revolutionary reading experience with personalized ebooks and audiobooks, tailored just for you. Discover your next favorite book at Pooks.ai for free. That's POOKS.ai.
Understanding competency-based education assessment and personalized learning. Discover how competency-based education assessment works, its benefits, and the role of personalized learning environments and AI in education. What's competency-based education assessment all about? Hey, I was just thinking about how education is changing these days, and I wanted to share something pretty interesting with you. It's called competency-based education assessment. You might have heard bits and pieces about it, but don't really know how it works or why it's becoming such a hot topic. So, imagine learning and being assessed based not just on how long you've been in a classroom, but on what you can actually do and know. That's the core idea behind competency-based education, CBE. Traditional education usually measures students by the time they spend in a class or by their performance on tests that cover a broad range of material, but CBE flips that on its head. Instead of focusing on hours or a letter grade, it concentrates on whether you've mastered certain skills or knowledge, competencies, essential to your field or subject. It's a much more practical way to see if someone is truly ready to move on or apply what they've learned. Now, if you think about it, this approach makes a lot of sense for real life and work. For example, if you're learning to code, it doesn't matter how many hours you sat in a classroom or watched lectures. What matters is whether you can actually build something, solve a problem, or write clean code. CBE allows learners to progress at their own pace, which can be a total game changer. Why competency-based assessment matters. One of the coolest things about competency-based assessment is that it's very clear and transparent. You know exactly what you need to learn and prove. Instead of chasing a grade, you focus on mastering specific skills. This focus not only helps learners stay motivated, but also gives employers a better idea of what graduates can do. Personalized learning paths. Everyone learns differently, and CBE supports that by letting you focus on areas where you need improvement without being held back by a fixed schedule. Real-world skills. Because the competencies are often aligned with job requirements or practical applications, students graduate better, prepared for the workforce. Self-paced progress. If you're strong in some areas, you can move ahead faster. No need to wait for the next semester. How assessment works in competency-based education. So how does this assessment actually work? Good question. The crux is that assessment in CBE focuses on demonstrations of mastery rather than just memorizing facts. That means you might show your competency by performing tasks or projects that mimic real-world scenarios, creating portfolios of work you've done, taking practical exams that test your critical skills, engaging in simulations, presentations, or even peer reviews. This approach removes much of the guesswork about whether students get it. Instead, the evidence of understanding or skill comes from what they actually can do. It's less about did you cram this info and more about can you apply it. The role of technology in personal learning environments. One more thing I find fascinating is how technology supports competency-based models. With tools like AI in education, the idea of personalized education is growing. When students are supported by AI personalized learning systems, they receive targeted feedback and resources that fit their unique needs, speeding up their mastery of specific skills. Plus, as part of a personal learning environment, learners can track their own progress and receive custom recommendations for what to work on next. This tech integration makes education more flexible and responsive than ever before. And speaking of personalized learning, if you want to experiment with making your own customized study resources or even books, check out Pooks.ai. It's a cool platform where you can create your personalized book now for free, tailored exactly to your learning needs, which fits right in with this whole competency and personalization trend. Wrapping it up. Competency-based education assessment isn't just a new buzzword. It's reshaping how we think about learning and proving skills. By focusing on real mastery, accommodating personal learning styles, and using modern tech to support personalized education, it promises a more practical, fair, and engaging path through education. Whether you're a student, educator, or just curious about how learning is evolving, this is definitely an approach worth watching. Thanks for hanging out and listening to this little rundown. If you want to explore your own personal learning journey or create customized educational content, don't forget to visit pooks.ai and create your personalized book now. For free, it could be the first step toward mastering your competencies in a totally new way.